pretty highly regarded. And we would get a decent amount of amateurs coming, and we would get some pros to come. But it wouldn't be a huge amount. But we get one or two of the traveling pros that travel all around the country and play in big events. But it was kind of hit or miss along those lines. And this year we switched gears a little bit, and we started focusing on trying to make something that was a little more than hit or miss. We wanted to make something that was a definite hit. We wanted people to feel like they had to come and play this event. And we decided to focus on just amateurs in order to do that, to create something that, at least for the Northwest, if you were an amateur player, you felt like this was a tournament you had to hit. And we did that through a couple of different ways. Playing off of our reputation for throwing a good tournament was definitely part of it. This year, the event with the new title, the Northwest Amateur Championship, presented by Innova. So that was one of our legs, as Innova is the #1 manufacturer in disc golf.
Okay.
And they decided to become basically direct partners with us for this. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal for other disc golfers. It gives a lot of prestige sort of to our event. They don't, go around and present all of the tournaments around the country.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was big. That definitely puts a big star by it. And then the other thing is that our local in-town retailer here, Olympic Discs, they are backing our grand prize, which we call the Olympic Disc Full Ride, which we're going to send the winner and caddy to Michigan to play in the United States Amateur Championship.
Wow.
So we're going to fund, we've been in contact with that tournament, so we're guaranteeing that they're going to qualify, because you have to qualify for that tournament. So our event is a qualifying event, and then we'll get them airfare and a hotel and whatever they need so they can go and play. That's a pretty big prize for amateur disc golf.
It sounds like it's a pretty big prize.
So that... We'll take our involvement with Innova. We'll take our backing from our local guys here. We'll take our reputation, and what we're trying to put forth is something where if you're an amateur player, you're like, that's it. All year long, I'm tuning up and I'm getting ready because I want to go and be competitive as possible on the best course in the state in the best tournament for an amateur. Because that's what it's all about. If you're competitive, and what we're really targeting is. Are those amateurs that are flirting with the edge a little bit, maybe. They've been playing for a really long time. They're really consistent, and they're maybe thinking about starting to play in pro events or starting to pay for money and things of that nature because they've been doing so well for so long. If you're one of those players and you live in Montana, Idaho, Northern California, Alaska, Oregon, and obviously Washington, we want you to feel like you have to come and compete here and get a feather in your cap before you move on.
So you're talking about people who have played for a long time and are flirting with going pro. What does that mean, a long time? How long has disc golf been bubbling under the surface, and how long have people been playing this? And where were they playing before the first real courses came up?
I was reading a pretty cool article about this not that long ago, because in general it's a little bit confusing, even just going all the way back to where frisbees came from.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of different people who actually sort of claim even just frisbees. Things around the pie plates. Frisbee pie plates, and Yale College is a big proponent that they invented frisbee, on just the kids on the campus, basically. Sure. And this is around this is around late 1800s or whatever. But yeah, even just where frisbee itself sort of originated from, and it's generally agreed upon that it was almost sort of a little bit of an organic sort of deal. With the notion that if it was flat and it sort of glided, people have been throwing stuff like that forever.
Right.
And that's the same deal, is that if it was flat and it's glided and you had some control over it, then as humans, the natural tendency next is, okay, can you hit that?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever it is, that person, that tree, that animal running, can you hit that with the disc? And so in one way or another, sort of the object style of disc golf has probably been around for almost as long as the actual frisbee has.
Okay.
Certainly a little bit more structured stuff has still been around for quite a while. People building, basically object-based courses through a college campus or whatnot. That's been around for a long time.
Okay.
So when we talk about disc golf and we start, capitalizing letters and things of that nature, that's usually agreed upon to be when the targets that we use were invented.
Okay.
So Steady Ed, Henrik, 40, maybe a little more than 40 years ago now, he's the first person who sort of put forth an actual design target that wasn't just a statue or a tree or a garbage can, but it uses the baskets and the chains and things that we use now. So that's what people usually point to as really the start of what we see as this modern sort of disc golf movement. And yeah, so a little over 40 years. There's a course in Steilacoom that's over 35 years old.
Did it start in Washington? The creation of that?
No, it's Steady Ed is based out of California.
Oh, okay.
But the reality of it is that for a strange reason, considering how well suited our state is for something like disc golf, mild climate, lots of open space.
Yeah.
We're fairly behind. A lot of the East Coast and the Midwest has a lot more knowledge and familiarity with disc golf. So you go to places like Austin, Texas. There's 30 plus disc golf courses within an hour of downtown. Kansas City, lots of disc golf courses. Michigan, Minnesota, all those places, lots of disc golf. Florida even, disc golf, and then all up and down the East Coast, Vermont and Maine and the Carolinas. So it's a little strange because if you were to just sit down and look at it on paper, you'd be like, boy, this must be huge on the West Coast.
It's got to be huge. You got Evergreen down the street, and we're all laid back on the West Coast.
Right. So, but no, yeah, California and Washington lagged a little behind in that development, but catching up quickly as the sport really ramps up and has been growing in double digits percentages every year for a number of registered players and stuff like that with professional organizations. As it grows quickly, we're catching up really fast because we are well suited for it. We do have the space and the land and stuff like that. So it's pretty easy for somebody to look around and be like, boy, you know what that empty lot needs? A disc golf course.
This could be perfect.
Yeah, this could be perfect. And so places like Portland has leaps and bounds, developed very quickly. They have a lot of great courses. Some of the best definitely on the West Coast are all just a couple miles outside of Portland. So they're sort of our hub, I would say, on the West Coast as far as just pure number of places to play, quality places to play. Just last year, they, oh boy, it was 2 years ago now, they hosted the Worlds because they had enough quality courses in a small enough area to bring people in, because it takes about 6 courses to run the Worlds event and really bring everybody in. So,
where's the farthest that someone's coming for this weekend? Montana, Northern California, further than the Northwest?
No, not for this one. I imagine we'll get a couple of travelers in the future. The thing is when, like anything else, like a promotion of any kind, by switching our name and changing things up a bit, we backslid a little on notoriety and things like that. So with our tournament that we had built up, the Pro-Am, we were selling out in we were counting it down by hours from when we would open it up. Going back to this event, it took us a whole day to get sold out on 144.
I mean, that still sounds pretty good.
It is good. It is good, yeah. And that's a lot of that's based on reputation and things of that nature. But our expectation is that not only, once this event is over with and it's more on people's minds and floating around out there, when we start talking about it next year, we know that we're going to go back to selling out really quickly. And our expectation is we're going to see some people from further away. Again, being an AM tournament, amateurs don't always have the luxury of devoting. At that point, it's basically you're saying, I think I want to go on vacation in Washington.
Yeah.
Right? That's the way you justify going to play a tournament where you might have to fly or something of that nature.
Okay.
For our pro tournament, we would get, a few of the traveling people that would fly in or things like that, and they loved our trophies, which were about 35-pound concrete plinths. They're basically mini replicas of our things, so they have to take those back on the airplane.
That's a good story, I'm sure. So let's talk about this. We got a couple minutes left here. So let's talk about what it's going to look like this weekend when 144 people plus will be convening on the Shelton Springs course. What's kind of the schedule that people will be able to be aware of for driving around purposes? It could be busy. It's both days, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it'll be both Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
We run flights, so the course is really only capable of holding about 72 golfers at a time.
Okay.
So we'll run flights, and so there should be enough cars. We have some camping set up out on Arcadia, so I imagine we should have about 40 cars or so. A lot of people will be carpooling, things of that nature, and I think we have enough to keep. We should keep most of the cars and things off the street. It'll just be those transition times when golfers are coming off the course and going to find food and things of that nature, and then the next wave of golfers is coming in. Things will probably get a little convoluted, but that should only be for about half an hour, twice a day or whatever. Otherwise, the impact should be relatively minimal as far as intersection.
I know you can see that hole, the driving area from that hole there on the corner at Shelton Springs. Are there more opportunities, and is the public encouraged to come and see what's going on? Or
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we'll have Tournament Central set up. It'll be sort of out in the middle of the field or whatever. Pop-ups, and Olympic Discs is going to be up there. They'll have their retail stuff all set up, and so people are absolutely welcome to come check it out. And then what we can do from there's about 3 holes or so you can really see from Tournament Central. And then if somebody's really interested, we'll take somebody back and we'll plop them down on a spot in the shade or whatever where they want to go. Locals who are familiar with the sport and familiar with the course, they bring out a couple of lawn chairs and they wander back to their favorite hole. Whichever one provides the most drama, and they'll plop themselves down and they'll watch. And and we can absolutely help somebody if they've got a couple hours to kill and just want to watch a little bit, and we'll put them on a good spot to watch some disc golf.
Oh, that sounds like a great event, and it's all weekend long at the best course in the state, one of the best in the country, the Shelton Springs Disc Course. And Morgan Rothrock, the president of the Mason County Disc Golf Association. We'll have to get you in by the end of the summer to talk about how Hoodsport Hills is going, but we'll let you focus on this one right now. And thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's 8:26 here at iFiber 1 News Radio, and we'll be back after this.
Family